Captain, I've got something to report.
From where?
Isle of Dawn. A murder of a priestess. The murderer seemingly left this blood-red coin with a grinning skull on the body.
Red Hoods.
Red Hoods, Mum?
Come, there's much I ought to tell you. An evening of unease in the Twilight Grove. Not truly. Has there ever been one of calm and peace in that place? Walker, you probably know Miss Sparrow these days, approached me back then.
Warden, have you seen that new priestess, Selissea?
I sure have. Why? Have you finally found true love? And mean to ask my aid to claim it? He looked at me as if I'd made the most stupid jest he'd ever heard. The vultures clearly dried all my humor away.
No, I speak of the key she wears. On that neck of hers hangs a necklace, and that necklace, I heard, binds a key to a prison.
Prison? What else do you know, Walker?
That a certain red-hooded assassin is out for it. The key. Someone who presented herself as Gertruda wanted me to get it for her.
I assume you declined, right? I never got a clear answer, but Walker was always vague. It was in his nature, perhaps due to his life's work infiltrating Sephirius' cult. He held his mask well, too well at times. I sought out Selissea. She wasn't hard to find, even harder to miss. She stood by the shrine in the grove when I approached. Good evening, sister.
Warden
Starshot, yes. I have something to discuss.
If you pardon me, sister, in but a little moment, I ought to do something.
Of course. She went a little away, just behind the tree. I later got to learn she did so to hide away her key, and also that her and I weren't alone.
What exactly are they up to? Oh.
Here. It should be safe until I return.
She put the key literally in the same bush Ella was hiding in, without knowing.
What was it you wished to discuss, Warden?
I am aware of you carrying a key to a prison. Would you tell me more about it?
How did you know?
A warden always knows, sister. I would like to know more about it.
It's to a prison of a Syad. A powerful Syad who has a faithful servant, Lady Diaphria. She was captured by me and my comrades there during the last invasion, sealed away in an unreachable box-like cage. The key is the only way to free her.
By the sound of it, her followers are still out there?
Yes, Lady Nemetreska. She hunts for this key. She wants to set her mistress free, and together they can make anyone flee.
Have you encountered her?
Yes. She has systematically dismantled my companions, employing Gertruda and her assassins.
Gertruda?
Gertruda is a dark fallen of Thalassian origin, a masterful assassin rivaling the Uncrowned on her own, and behind her stands perhaps the most covert network of spies, infiltrators and murderers. The Red Knight, the Red Hoods.
Sister, with all due respect, it seems like you've a problem. They want your key, and they're dangerous. Let me have at it. I can bring it somewhere they will never reach it, and Diaphria will be as good as gone forever. She took herself a moment to consider. She was careful, to say the least. But after some consideration, she agreed, and then we went together to the bush. Searching for the key, we discovered there was none to be found.
Come on, Talus! We have to get this to safety, from N and from them!
Luckily, she left a trail of magic I could follow, so I did. I caught up with her in Dalaran, and the trace led me to her living square. I barely knew Ella back then, only the name, so I requested to meet her, and we did meet. Ella, I am looking for a key, and I have grounds to assume you have it. And on top of that, grounds to assume you may be affiliated with a cult. I will have to use the serum on you. Let's not make this difficult.
No, I'm not, and I don't. How can I know you're not? And how can I know you won't lie, or that flask won't be poisoned?
I will drink from it too. Fascinating. Me deciding to also drink the serum led us to sharing what we know, and from this interaction alone, a friendship had begun. one that would prove to be amongst the ones I hold dear.
You can have the key, Brigita.
Thank you. Ella, what do you know about these Red Hoods?
I knew Lady N before Red Hoods were Red Hoods. She tried to hire me back in Stormwind to help her. I might have snitched on her to the guards. And the Illidari. The thing is, she was dead, and this was supposed to be over. You know about Gertruda?
Only by rumor.
Gertruda is an old ally of Nemi. They had some sort of falling out. And long story short, she's dead, and Nemi has her body possessed. So who you see as Gertruda is Nemi, and she is running the Red Hoods, and will probably try to kill me again.
You should keep some distance then, Ella.
I think it's a bit too late for that. Like a few assassination attempts too late.
For her size and age, Ella was, and still is, quite a brave gnome. She cares for her friends, unlike anyone else out there. It took us some time to investigate, search for breadcrumbs, but slowly, as we unveiled the roots of this organization, one particular asset became a target, Morlea Blacksong, and so Finny formed a group to strike her. At an opportune moment, she was captured.
I've taken her rings, Starshot. She shouldn't be going anywhere, but her life seems to be on the brink of death. All yours, just beneath this bridge.
Excellent. Thank you, Finny. Morlea, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
I will tell you nothing else than fuck you.
I'm not here to kill you, sister. And if you help me, I'll help you.
You're simply gonna throw me into your vault.
Yes, if you don't cooperate, I shall. But I see there's fear and regret in your eyes.
I never wanted this. They lured me in, bound to the will of their leader.
But you're free now, Morlea. We've removed the sigils. Her and I spoke for some time, and it turned out she was no villain or foe. She was misguided and taken advantage of by the manipulative grasp of N. But her life was fading. It was as if this was to be our last conversation. Luckily, and barely in time, a healer arrived, and so Morlea was put through a lengthy rehabilitation process, cared for by her house Finny was part of. And when she was ready, she picked up her weapons once more. But this time, in defense of her people, she became my first trainee. She was loyal, determined, not always the sharpest tool, and yet, oftentimes, impressive as to how fast she grasped the training. But eventually, there would come a day that none of us would know, as the final time we would see each other. And remember, Morlea, there is no duty, and never will be more sacred than the one we carry before our goddess.
Yes, Mom.
Good. That'll do with theory for today. Gather some needed rest. Your trials are beginning in but a week.
I shan't disappoint you, Warden. I will do my utmost. For Elune, for the Order, and of course, for you.
Goddess, watch over you. For 2 days, I have not heard anything from Morlea, and with good reason. I was to discover.
Starshot? Oh, I'm glad you could make it. I bring terrible news.
Finny, when do you not bring terrible news? Spit it out.
Morlea, your trainee. She was found in Stormwind. During a patrol, she was found butchered on the street of the trading district. I was called in, and we investigated the body, but it turned out she wasn't merely killed. Her body was stuffed with a toxic plague. Perhaps they were hoping you'd find the body like that. It was quite a trap to set. The disease spread easily, merely being within a certain distance. In 2 hours from us discovering the body, half of Stormwind was carrying the plague. The cathedral had to mobilize all clerics and paladins at that moment. With heavy efforts, we managed to stop the spread and cure the disease, and those that died had to be burnt, Morlea included. The whole thing made it to the Lion's Roar newspaper.
Hearing all that caused a storm of fury inside of me. I could barely contain it, and Finny felt it. He even saw it, as with raw emotion alone, the Avatar sought to manifest.
Starshot? Your shadow, it's...
I managed to keep it in control, even though every part of me wanted only one thing: murder the guilty within an instant. Where are her ashes?
Cathedral! I can escort you there.
So we went there, and in the sacred place of human heretics, I met their bishop.
Is it you that is Warden Starshot?
Yes, and I want to know what has become of my trainee.
I'm certain to tell she...
I know. Where are her remains?
I was aware that cremation isn't within your people's rights, but it is what we had to do in order to stop the plague. However, I've taken time to gather the ashes. I've an urn for you, Honored Warden.
An urn is better than not. I understand the need for this. I shall take this urn, however, to where it belongs.
On her plagued body we also found a letter. I believe it was meant for you to be found, while every other item was stolen.
I shall take that too. And so, I did. I took the urn and the message, and ventured to the Isle of the Watchers. There, I buried Morlea's remains, read the message, and made a promise. Morlea, I will hunt them all down. Each and every. Nobody will escape the wrath of mine, and that of Elune. I wasn't the only one who was grieving. Other trainees of mine thirst for vengeance. But before such could take place, I had to make them ready. So I took them to a safe house, where for 2 months we trained without a break. Mind, body, and skill. I'm sure that all of you recall what happened to Morlea. And now, you 3 possess the skills to bring justice for your sister. But not only that, justice for all the crimes the Red Hoods have committed upon our kin, our allies. Scour every corner, grasp every tiniest thread of a clue. Find them, all of them. They and I searched day and night. Never did a watchful eye close itself upon the lands that we stalked through. And one evening at Westfall, it was as if Elune herself guided us to our prey.
Starshot.
I see her too, Shadewind. Let us follow. A Red Hood traveled to Westfall in order to exchange with their informant. We carefully watched and listened, and then we struck. We knew well how they got out of most perils. Their rings. So the goal was to remove those first. With a slice of a glaive, the fingers were cut off, letting those rings roll down the roof. And the hood itself? Pinned by a glaive to a wooden wall behind herself. But a moment later...
I surrender! I surrender!
Bind her! She's due for a long-lasting stay at the vault. What is your name, fiend?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I will know whether you tell me or will be made to.
Zaranore.
Zaranore. We have a long night ahead of us. Perhaps days. Amongst Zaranore's belongings, I found a pair of daggers. Muhron Kuldaz, daggers of midnight, belonging to Morlea. These daggers were the only thing left from Morlea, and their purpose now was as clear as moonlight. With the daggers of my dead mentee, I held the rings that was severed from Zaranore's hand. After a long interrogation, I learned that there were only a limited number of each of these rings out there. 6 for the elves, 3 for the dwarves, 1 for the humans. Do you know why you are still alive, Zaranore?
Because your goddess dictates that you ought to imprison and not kill. Because you know that I know a lot.
No. Frankly, everything that you know is but a matter of short time before it is irrelevant. They'll change patterns, hideouts, and communication codes. Reason you're alive is because you will be made to suffer. Suffer the way Morlea suffered. I will make you watch the heads of your fellow roll for your feet. I will make you pay for what you've done. Pray that Elune has mercy upon you, for I've none.